Said Nursi explicitly told the location where Hazrat Mahdi ﷺ would appear, yet the source is our Prophet ﷺ. There are so many hadith mentioning Constantinople and Istanbul that only those I am aware of amount to 20. Istanbul and Constantinople are always mentioned. Said Nursi explains this, thus the incident of the end times. He calls them as the incidents that would appear in the future. He told that people assumed incidents of the end times would appear in locations such as Basra, Kufa, Damascus, Mecca and Medina. He said the reason for this is that the people who related the accounts assumed that the capital of Islam would always remain, for instance in Basra or Medina or Kufa. However, as you know, the last capital of the Islamic world was Istanbul. With the abolishment of the caliphate, it ceased to be the capital of the Islamic world, yet there exists a spiritual aspect. Consequently, Said Nursi said all the incidents of the end times would take place in Istanbul. Hazrat Mahdi's ﷺ appearance and the descent of Jesus ﷺ are also included. He says the incidents related to persons. It is stated that all of them would take place in the end times in Istanbul. Incidents take place in a single place. Istanbul was the capital of both Islamic and Christian world. It is also the location where Al-Khidr ﷺ and Hazrat Mahdi ﷺ meets, the place where the two seas merge. Istanbul is of vital importance. It is the center of the world. It is the point. All events take place in Istanbul. Whatever happens, they happen in Istanbul. All events take place in Istanbul. He says, a truth that will take place 1400 years later. That is, Said Nursi gives an exact time. He explicitly says that he will appear in Istanbul. He said that scholars assume that the persons of the end times would appear in cities like Basra, Kufa and Damascus. That is, Hazrat Mahdi ﷺ and Jesus ﷺ, the persons of the end times. He said they assumed them to appear in locations such as Basra, Kufa and Damascus. The reason is that, he continued, they thought the capital of Islam would always remain there. However, the capital of Islamic world moved lastly to Istanbul. Then caliphate was abolished. Thus, Istanbul ceased to be the capital of Islam. Yet, in the hadith, it is indicated to be the location where the incidents of the end times would take place. He also states it very explicitly. He said, wherever the last center of caliphate was, the events would take place there. Istanbul is a blessed place. As you know, it was also the capital of Christians. Then it became the capital of Muslims. It is the most beautiful city of the world. It is the most important city, the place where Hazrat Mahdi ﷺ will appear and Jesus ﷺ will descend. Istanbul is the place where the greatest events will take place, but it will always be the symbol of compassion, love, mercy and peace, and in the spread of justice and peace, Istanbul will again be the center.